Right now, everybody's talking about Drake and Joe Budden going at it. But let's keep it real, there's only one reason this is trending. Joe Budden is using Drake's name to get himself back in the spotlight.
25 years ago, or however long it was, yeah, hey, you did a game show, nigga, you a pussy. Yeah. But today, you can still be very much tough and do a game show. Drake is not looked at like that from just one or two incidents. It's the whole background. You grew up. If you was acting at 9 and 10 and 11 or however old you were, then it's assumed that your Jewish family did all right, was breeding you up since you weren't. There wasn't and even when Game did that, there was the story of what his brother was into.
That's a fact.
What his niggas was into.
That's a fact. You're right.
So Drake never had that. So we assume it's Degrassi, and Drake got enough money and resources to make a record like No Face and Circadian Rhythm do more than what it did.
True.
So I'm going to
out.
assume that.
But how? I get you. I know he has all the money in the world. But again, the labels control.
He got power too. It ain't just money. It ain't just money. Drake's name is coming up at the Illuminati meeting.
I would agree with that.
This isn't some epic battle between equals. On one side, you've got Drake, the biggest name in music for over a decade. The guy's got hit after hit, sold out tours, business moves, collaborations with every major artist, and a fan base that's global. Drake doesn't just keep up with the culture, he drives it.
Shortly after Drake's 8th studio album For All the Dogs dropped, Joe Budden spoke on his podcast about Drizzy delivering a project that, while he enjoyed, felt a little immature.
Yo, dog, I had to look up how old this nigga was when I finished listening to the album. You are 36. I'm want to hear adult Drake rapping for adult people. I miss the Drake that was rapping for the rappers. I miss the Drake that when he dropped, the rappers hit him. Overall, I do like the album. But I was let down.
For Drake, this kind of reality check couldn't have come at a worse time. Lately, Drake has been pretty sensitive when it comes to people criticizing him. So it's clear Drake isn't taking criticism lightly these days from anyone. And when his new album For All the Dogs dropped, it seems like everyone and their mamas had something bad to say about it. But with Joe Budden's review, it seemed a little more personal, with Drake devoting time to crafting a rage-filled essay on DJ Academics' Instagram comments about it. He started his message by saying that Joe Budden left his music career just to criticize other artists on his podcast. Of course, he also used the comment to explain how rich he was compared to Joe Budden. I own a 767. He owns a modest house in the 973 and flies first class on special occasions. This response led to a storm on social media. Now, some people thought that Drake absolutely snapped on his response. However, there was a lot more people claiming that Budden was onto something. Damn, I'm a Drake fan and he's low-key right. I love Drake, but Joe has a point. Dude is salty, lol. Rather than taking back what he said, Drake doubled down. In another post, he thanked God that he didn't have to come to rush conclusions on Best Buy podcast mics. That's cold. But unfortunately for Drake, his overtly touchy response was probably the worst thing he could have done. By flying off the handle like that, he made it extremely obvious that no matter how much he claims Budden's opinion is irrelevant, it clearly still bothers him.
Now look at Budden. He had his moment years ago, but let's be honest, his rap career never came close to what Drake's done. These days, Budden is more about podcast clips and social media debates. He's figured out that the best way to get clicks is to poke at the top dog. And Drake is the top dog, plain and simple. Drake knows the game Budden is playing. That's why when he fires back, you can tell he's a little annoyed, but he's not losing sleep. Drake is still breaking streaming records, still putting out chart-topping music, still shaping what everybody else is trying to do. For more than 10 years, every new sound that's popped up in rap or pop, Drake's been right there, either leading it or elevating it.
How often does a rap beef start because someone didn't like how another rapper feels about their album?
40, you sound amazing. 40 continues to progress. Drake, you do not. I said the other day on this podcast, I miss the Drake that starts the waves, not hops on other waves. And I'll say it again.
Before they had a rap beef that resulted in numerous shots being thrown back and forth, they actually were on pretty good terms with one another. The tension between Drake and Joe rose in 2016 when Drake released the album Views in April. He stated that Drake sounds uninspired and that the music sounds great, commending 40, Drake's friend, and one of the main producers, and said that he's progressing while Drake isn't.
I think that kid on that album that I heard sounds real fucking uninspired. That's what I think. I think that music is real good. You can't fool a real nigga. You can fool them. You can fool the people that are not paying attention. That music sounds good and I enjoy it. I played that album all the way to DC and all the way back multiple times.
Budden, on the other hand, is trying to make a moment for himself by talking down the guy who's actually moving the culture forward. And honestly, that's what this whole feud is about. It's not about real criticism, it's about getting attention. Joe knows controversy brings in viewers, and he's cashing in on that.
To really showcase why Drake hates Budden so much, and vice versa, let's go back to May of 2016, when things first soured between the two rappers, who actually used to have a very close relationship. When Joe Budden started his podcast name, I'll name this podcast later, which was eventually changed to the Joe Budden Podcast. This officially marks his transition from a rapper whose career spanned about 20 years to a media personality. He was no longer in the studio making bars. This time, he was using his mic to critique the industry. This shift in his brand perfectly correlates with the time Drake released quite possibly his most underwhelming project at the time. Then, on May 4th, 2016, Joe Budden decided to give his take on episode 64 of his podcast.
Track number 2 might be the worst follow-up to track number 1 I've ever heard on any Drake project, and I love that song. That song is indicative of my point. Drake, who has been on my list of a nigga who has not had an undeniably whack verse in years. I didn't even give him one until My Way with Fetty. It's not by coincidence that there's a string of records now with horrible lyrics. I turned the 6 upside down. It's a 9 now. I think that what I heard was a man that was so far gone from himself.
Joe made it clear throughout the whole episode that he was a huge fan of Drake, who just felt disappointed by the album.
I love Drake. I am one of the biggest Drake fans that there is. He knows this about me as well. The last track, Views, what I was getting from the words was different. I couldn't feel it. I think he's uninspired.
Joe Budden had a lot of harsh criticism for the Six God, but it felt like he was doing it because he genuinely wanted Drake to be the best he could be.
Drake's not sweating this. He's seen it all before. Every few years, someone with a podcast or a platform tries to start something, hoping to ride the wave of Drake's name. Meanwhile, Drake just keeps winning. He's everywhere. Music, fashion, business. He doesn't need to prove anything to Joe Budden, and he definitely doesn't need any internet drama to stay relevant.
A lot of people are upset with Drake. One in particular person, Joe Budden, on his podcast, complained about Drake not rapping for him, but rapping for the kids, KJ. Yeah. Basically, he wants Drake to rap for 30. He says Drake's 36 years old. He wants Drake to rap like a 36-year-old.
No, I don't think that's Drake, though. Like, I feel like Drake did what
Drake does.
Yeah, what Drake does. Like,
why now? Like, who else do they talk about rapping their age? I never hear anybody talk about anybody else rapping their age.
No.
I think Joe Budden also said something like, he needs to hang out with people his age. I'm like, dude, he done made songs with everybody already his age. Who hasn't he made songs with? The new guys. That's why he's working with the new guys, Nobody says anything about Jay-Z. Jay-Z was like 40 and he was on Drake's debut album in 2010. Joe said something about messing with 25-year-olds. When Jay-Z was 36, you know what he was doing? He was with the 25-year-old Beyonce.
I was gonna say Beyonce.
25-year-old Beyonce, he was jumping on a 25-year-old record singing, talking about deja vu.
So let's stop pretending this is some game-changing moment. Budden is chasing headlines. Drake's living them. If anything, this just reminds everyone why Drake is still at the top and why others are left reaching up, hoping to grab a piece of his shine.
As a Drake fan myself, I agree that Joe didn't say anything out of pocket. And this long-ass response didn't do anything but show how insecure he is about this album, because deep down he knows it didn't give what it was supposed to give. Drake isn't rapping to rap fans anymore. He's rapping to fans of streamers who listen to his music. So what we have here is a tale of two rappers. One who has reached insane levels of success, and another who's respected for his skills and insight. And yet, the guy with the big sales and fame can't shake off what the seasoned veteran has to say. It's not just about money or popularity, it's about respect and artistry. And that's something you can't put a price tag on.
That's how I see it. No hype, no extra drama, just the facts. If you want more real talk like this, make sure you stick with What's the Word.